Hi. Okay, first of all, I'm having microphone malfunction, so if it sounds terrible, if you can't hear me, I'm really sorry. Also, I made a video this weekend um, that I was basically being a brat um, and ranting and raving. And I had it up for a little bit, took it down. It served its purpose for me. I had an issue come up that basically I did not know a person in the world, personally, individually, who I would be able to talk to and have them understand what I was saying at all. And I really needed to get my annoyance out so that I could articulate it in this video, in any video, in any way, shape, or form. Um, if you saw the video, if you want to see the video, I've not completely deleted it. I just took it down. So she sent me a message in Instagram. I'll send you the link. I don't think you want to see it, but anyway, um, what I kept saying is in this video um, was, am I putting out a vibe? And in a nutshell, okay, so let's just get to it. The point that I'm trying to say here is, it seems very, very extremely obvious to me. Like, this is a no-brainer. I haven't made a video about this because guess what? It's a no-brainer. People with avoidant personality disorder feel like they have to take the blame or they are responsible for other people's behaviors. And that's not right. You should not have to. No matter what the behavior is, good, bad, ugly, whatever, you can't force somebody else to behave a certain way. There's nothing you're doing that causes anybody else's behavior unless they're trying to defend themselves from you. And I mean, really, truly defend. Like, if you physically attack somebody, then they're probably going to try to avoid getting hit. That's what I mean. Anything else, that's not you. Even if it's a random thing that happens and it normally doesn't, and it seems like all of a sudden it's happening all over the place and frequently, you still can't control. Even, okay, so I'm making these videos and I am controlling these videos. And, I mean, no, they are not the most flattering videos, but they could be much worse. You're still only seeing like this little corner, and I'm already going, oh God, this is where I put the Christmas tree, which is coming up soon, and I've got to find another place to film because this is safe to me to film here, and I don't film the entire house. I film actually a few other places, but I don't film everywhere. I don't film the front of my building, because I really don't want people showing up here, that sort of thing. This is a choice that I make. But that does not mean that I can control everything about this process. I can't control who watches my videos. I can't control what you have to say about my videos or think about the videos, what you're thinking about me behind the scenes. If I make a video, then I'm opening myself up, right? However, and I mean, this is, like I said, this is a situation that I control way more than real life, okay? I still can't control how I'm going to be responded to. I still can't control, how many people are going to watch it and what they're going to have to say about it. And if a video takes off and becomes viral, which I highly suggest that that's never going to happen for me, because I don't have anything really interesting to say, even though, again, this is me thinking I'm being braggy. The first video that I ever came up with was a concept. It's still my most, I think it's my most viewed video. Anyway, it's a concept that people just did not talk about, even though it was obvious to me. And the American Psychiatric Association actually, without my permission or telling me, embedded my video on their site. And so there were a lot of people that saw my video that I had no control over. I mean, obviously, this is going to sound like I'm beating up on people, but serious. Every once in a while, I get a whole lot of people with borderline personality disorder, especially untreated borderline personality disorder. Something I've talked about triggers them, and suddenly they're like raging at me. I can't control that. It's a fact of life. So if I can't control that on the thing that I have this huge amount of control over, I'm the one that, I'm not being forced to make these videos. I make them all totally on my own. I'm the one that chooses what I look like when I make the videos. I'm the one that chooses where the filming is done. I choose all this. I can't control how I'm received. So in real life, interacting with people, I can't control anything about what I'm going to be received as. Now, I mean, you can set boundaries. You can say, somebody says something to you and you can just be like, okay, I don't appreciate that type of conversation or something like that. I mean, you really can. You can walk away from somebody, etc. But you don't know that they're going to do this thing that you don't like until after they've done it. You don't have a time machine. You can predict everything that's going to happen in the world. It happens. And then you have to deal with it, okay? You're not causing things to happen. You're not putting out vibes. I mean, and even like, okay, this is October, it's going to be Halloween. Even if you put on a costume that was like, quote unquote, you still can't control how people are going to react. It is not your responsibility how people act around you. Your responsibility is how you react to how they act. You didn't cause it. Now, the reason I'm going over this so much is because if this is something that you have dealt with as a person with avoidant personality disorder, everything I'm saying to you, it's going to turn right around. It's going to make you bounce right back. It's that pendulum thing. They'll be like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense, obviously. And then it's going to be, well, except you're the exception. I was going to say the special one, but that's not how it goes in your head. You're the exception, that you're the one that actually, no, you're not. Now, the reason why I actually am really interested, this is something else that I have not seen any research on. And it's not one of these things that's like, like I'm saying, oh, there are these black and white sort of dichotomies. This is how people, and I've observed that. This is not like this at all, but I'm really curious about how many people have avoidant personality disorder, got the avoidant personality disorder from family members they lived with. Because, I mean, you can get, I think one of the worst ways, okay, the worst, I shouldn't do that. I think something that I feel massive empathy toward are people who got avoidant personality disorder by how they were treated by a parent that didn't live with them. It's horrible. That's horrible. Like, they don't even live with you and they have that much an influence on your life to screw you up that bad. That's like, oh, these people, bring them up. But I think it would be really interesting to find out how many people who the trigger for their avoidant personality disorder was a person in their immediate family who lived with them, who turned out to be either the eldest child or a single child in the family. And the reason for that is because a new baby does cause a massive upheaval in people's lives. They might think, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and then like all hell breaks loose. And a lot of people, if they have any sort of, I don't know, my gut says a narcissistic drive, but it's not just narcissist. It's not just narcissists that cause people to have avoidant personality disorder. But, people that are just, they're not suited to be parents. They don't want the upheaval of a baby, but they have a baby. They aren't prepared for it. And I think that's part, that is definitely my case. And there's a lot of people I know who are just like, oh my God, you're an adult. They're not, but they're clearly something they tell themselves all the time. And so they then come out with it to me to say, God, you're an adult. Why are your parents still such a big thing? Why are you still blaming them? You need to forgive them and to move on. Well, I know I have a video about how I feel about the should. No, should is ridiculous. Don't pay any attention to what anybody tells you, or even yourself, what you should do. That's like an evil word. But also the forgive and forget crap. No. First of all, there's some people that don't deserve to be forgiven. And all this, well, you're just beating yourself up with this forgiven crap. No, sometimes it's not forgiving them. It is accepting that you were damaged and not taking blame for it anymore. But yeah, I mean, it does seem like I blame my parents a lot in this, but you know what? Knowing the origins of how something happened, especially when it isn't resolved and you can't resolve it, I mean, that helps a lot. For me, it helped tremendously just to have the name avoidant personality disorder, to know I wasn't uniquely, horribly, like a flawed human being, that I didn't work, that I wasn't the only one, and it wasn't my fault. I was like, well, okay, time to move forward. I'm not spinning my wheels there. Same thing here. If your family of origin has basically made you the scapegoat, I mean, in my case, I've talked about this before. I'm sorry, I'm sort of saying, I've done this before. But I'm only saying that because if you want more details, you can look it up. Not that I'm trying to get more views, because it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, if you're interested, you can look it up. I was 100% blamed, as like overtly, directly told this by my mother, that my parents weren't married and I was not planned. And well, first of all, she's told me that she thought very long and hard about having an abortion. That's great. That's a lovely thing to say to a child growing up, that I should be grateful to her because she chose not to have an abortion. But also, because I came along, my parents had to get married. They had my sister. And from that point, the point of my conception forward, absolutely everything that happened in their lives was a direct result of my existence, and therefore I was to blame for everything that happened in their life. And every negative thing that happened in either my parents or my sister's life, they could say was my fault. For real. I mean, this is crazy. This is bonkers. I am aware that that's crazy and that's bonkers. But I was trained on this for decades. This is how I was brought up. It took me forever to understand. My sister is alcoholic, and she thinks my mother is like the greatest thing of all time. Still does. Thinks that she was so And I'm just like, okay, two people growing up in an abusive background, they react differently. Um, and it was fairly recently I realized that among the reasons my sister thinks my mother was the greatest thing ever was because my mother convinced my sister that she did not have to take responsibility for herself at all, and that it was all me. Everything was me. I mean, it was bonkers. She's an alcoholic. Apparently, even though my mother admits that my sister was um, drinking regularly when she was single digit age, they told everybody that the reason my sister started drinking was because I went away to college and left the house. And again, this was all part of their thing. My mother wanted me there under her thumb forever, um, so that I would, do everything that she needed and wanted me to do. And so she was pulling out all of the things, saying, look what happened. You left. You're worthless, but you left, and your sister's life fell apart, and it's all your fault. That sort of crap. And I was trained that no matter what happened, anybody's reaction, somebody mistreated me. Now I'm found out behind the scenes that my mother, every once in a while, was sort of like a mother bear situation, which now I know where I get it from. I mean, but it was definitely never shown to me. She was constantly like, it's my fault if anything negative happens to me. It's my fault. I have to take responsibility for it. If there's any opportunity that comes along, I have to do it without question. Now, the thing is, that has framed my personality and my outlook in life in a way. Okay, I don't trust people, but I am so much into the go for it when it comes to experiences. Like making these videos, for instance, to bring it back. All the traveling I do. I'm like, like the first time I went to Africa, I went to Morocco, and everybody was like, oh my God, you're going to be trafficked. And now, okay, well, first of all, give me a break. I'm like this old lady. Nobody's interested in that. Even though I definitely was in a situation where they were trying to do something. Probably just going to kidnap me and try to get money out of me. But whatever. I mean, I got myself out of this situation too. But yes, it was people that they were trying to help me by leading me into the maze and trying to confuse me about where I was going. But yeah, pretty decent sense of direction. I got myself right back out of there. Anyway, I do that. I just take the leap and do it with a lot of things that I do in my life that don't involve people. If I can do it by myself and dependent on myself, and it's a new place and stuff like that, yeah. It's like the other side of the coin, but it's the same. It's the same thing, that I have to be responsible for myself. So I am responsible for myself. I take responsibility for myself. I don't think that anything is going to suddenly happen. It would be really nice. There's lots of things that I wish would just get taken care of in my life. They're not going to get taken care of in my life. Nobody is going to take care of it. It's not, you know. I got yelled at work, sort of, seriously, because there's a, how should I put this? I don't even know. There's sort of like a safety net system, that if you're sick or you've had surgeries or like some natural disaster or whatever, you can apply and they'll give you money. And I heard, I was like, yeah, well, I had all these surgeries last year and nobody gave me anything, and raging at me that, well, you didn't apply, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I also was not eligible. You had to be destitute. You had nothing, and you had no money, and you had to have proof that it was going to impact you in the form of like either eviction notice or, your lights are going to be turned off, and you had the notice to prove it. Then they gave you money. Yes, I wasn't to that point, so I wasn't eligible. So no, I did not apply, because why would I apply for something I wasn't eligible for? And they're like, meh, that sort of thing. It's really funny to me that people do that. I mean, is that normal? That people have that immediate reaction? It's weird to me. It's weird to me. But I don't know. Maybe that's the way all people are. But I do really feel like I'm a magnet for that sort of thing, because people are just like, you are so self resilient. Is that the right word? Anyway, that I do everything. I figure it all out on my own. Yes. Because I don't trust anybody. I would never trust anybody. And I think on a daily basis that something could like pull my rug out from under me again, and I have to figure out how I would function if X, Y, or Z happened still, because I've been trained to do that. So this video is still me talking mostly about myself and my own personal specific situation, because this is another one where it's hard to talk about, because it's like, what? But yes, I believe very strongly that I was trained to take the blame for everybody else's behavior and thoughts. And so if somebody in the real world comes along and does something or says something that upsets me or whatever, my immediate reaction, I mean, like, I got yelled at by my boss the other week. It's a bad time of the year. We just had somebody else quit today. Anyway, and it was really not appropriate, and it was in an open line, so both my coworkers and clients heard this, me getting reamed out, and I literally just went, okay, because it didn't matter that it wasn't my fault at all. It was not my fault at all. It was a client that was making life hell. I just wanted the abuse to end as quickly as possible, and I just went along with whatever was being said. I told you these videos are all linked in some way. My reaction is to take the blame when somebody else is acting inappropriate. Then what I do is run away from them. But it should not be my fault. And if somebody is trying to put the blame on you, if somebody is saying that you're responsible for how they behave, that you're responsible for things that happen in their life, I mean, unless, okay, so my son, I was responsible for bringing him up, right? But now he's an adult, he lives by himself. It doesn't fly. He can't say, well, I did this to him, and therefore this is why he's making these choices in his life. No. That doesn't fly. It's not how it is. But my gut response when I just have an immediate situation is to go back to the initial training that I had and was like, oh yeah, it must be my fault. And if I can't process enough of it to say, to the point where I'm like, okay, yep, let me go through and break it down and make me, oh yeah, that was definitely really not my fault. If I have another one and another one like right on top of each other, and I can't process it, then I start to think, oh yeah, this is my fault. I did do something. I did cause this, and I am responsible for it. That is not true. I mean, the thing is, I will like also be, I don't just like accept it and go on with my life. I'll like ruminate on it and be like, what? Because I know it's wrong. But I'm believing it and it's wrong. there's like this paradox thing, and I have to pull it apart and see if it's accurate or not. And when it's like it's not computing, it's not lining up, then I will um, just ruminate on it until it finally clicks that no, I'm not putting out a vibe. I'm not the person to blame for somebody else's bad behavior. That's a choice they made, not me. I didn't tell them to make the choice. I didn't force them to make a choice. I didn't hold their hand. I didn't trick them somehow into making these bad choices. You know, and if they led me down a path, let's call that, um, if they get me to do something that I don't really want to do, it's okay for me to change my mind and go back and do the thing that I want to do. I can do that. I can do that. And it's also completely valid for me to do my little fawn thing and say nothing. And it's also valid for me to do a flight thing and get out of there. Those are perfectly good things for me to do for myself. That's people can make choices and they can change their mind. The fight thing, I do that enough too. Thankfully, not physically, but you know, I also actually work faster if I'm doing it. If I get in a fight with somebody, for some reason, that thinking process goes quicker, and then I'll realize, oh, I was wrong, and then I'll stop my fighting. But that's probably because I don't know. Like I said, generally all I do is the fawn thing and go like, okay, 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 and then think about it afterward. That's okay. And it's okay to change your mind. Um, it's not okay to just automatically blame yourself for how somebody else is behaving. It's inaccurate. Things that are inaccurate are not right. um, so yeah, kind of super rambly like normal. Sorry about that. I hope it made any kind of sense at all. But I do think it's important to realize that no matter how you were trained when you were growing up, you are not the person who's responsible for somebody else's behavior. You're not doing something to entice somebody to act in a really negative way, because they also have the choice to just say, hey, this is what you're doing, it's irritating me. They also have the choice to just walk away rather than act however they're acting. And again, positive and negative. For me, I can react and will react just as badly as um, like it's as upsetting to me to get a positive um, interaction that I was not anticipating and I didn't want to participate in, as you know. And I mean, being cornered and having somebody be nice to you is pretty nice. Being cornered and having somebody try to manipulate you into believing that they're nice um, also is not fun at all, and it's not my fault. It's not your fault. So try to acknowledge when you're just taking the blame for something and go, okay, was it me? Did I do this? Or are they making a choice that's impacting me? If it's the second one, it's not your fault, and you've every right to either to stick up for yourself and request that they not do that anymore, or to leave and get out of the situation no matter what they're saying. It's not your fault. Bye. See you next week.